today we're going to talk about stock investment in Germany. And a lot of people have been asking, so is it just focusing on the German market, or what does that mean? As most of the people in this group live in Germany, so it's really talking more kind of on a broad level, what do you do in stock investment? But then also in particular, if you have a German brokerage account, if you operate out of Germany, what are some considerations to choose your brokerage and also tax? Today we have Alexander and also Balaji. Alexander is actually a good friend of mine, and Balaji is nominated by his wife, who is nominated by her friend. Both of them actually provide very rich experience, but for the audience, as you listen to our discussion, you can also hear the different perspective. Balaji, would you like to introduce yourself?
So, hi everyone. Very good evening to all. So, first of all, thank you, Wendy, for organizing this event. So, little about me. Myself, Balaji. I live in Ingolstadt and I work at Audi. And I'm living in Germany for more than 11 years. And I'm also in the investing field for more than 5 years. So, today I would like to share more of my personal experiences, my positives, and also the negative things, things which I learned in my journey. I would like to share it all with you people.
Okay, then pass it on to Alex.
Thank you very much, Wendy. And yeah, pleasure to meet you all. This is the first time I'm joining any of your sessions here, Wendy, and thank you so much for inviting me. So yeah, to everyone, I'm Alexander. I've been also in the investment game for something about 5 years now. I am I'm definitely not an expert, so I think that's the disclaimer to put out there. However, I do spend a fair bit of my time in the sort of following the market, and I do have a fair bit of capital in there. So it's definitely a topic that is very close to my heart. So my main sort of first objective was essentially saying, okay, I want to save up, or I want to invest and make some money that I have enough for a down payment for a nice house. Of course, I think when you go into the investment game, at least in my book, you need to have a bit of a long-term horizon, right? So to be frank, I've already made my goal, but I'm still investing. So now my goal is sort of saying, okay, what else can we get out there on the horizon?
Yeah, like almost every people, I would also like to purchase a house here. The reason for me is start investment in the beginning was something different, but now I shifted my goal for my down payment for my house. In the initial days, I was just like playing like a gambling thing without having any idea about it. But later, I learned more things about the investment, why we need to do the investment. The importance is very much important to fix a goal before starting it.
So the first question a lot of people are curious is that, how do you know what kind of investor are you? Are you aggressive? Are you conservative? How did you make that exploration to understand yourself before you start putting your money in? We will start with Balaji this time.
So I'm basically a mixed investor. I mean, there are two types of strategy. One, you have to fix your goal, whether you're going to have for a long-term investment. There are a few companies which you can really yield good profits in the long term, let's say after 5 years or 10 years. And there are few stocks which you can't predict very well whether the company will go up or top up like a rocket speed. Then I used to also do an intraday trading, because it all depends upon the market scenarios. But when you do the intraday trading, you must be very well aware about the happenings around the market, why the market falls down. Let's say that Tesla is always going in a peak, but the last 2 days, the Tesla and NIO were falling down. So it all depends upon the too much of high risk with all those few of the stocks. So it's like a mishmash. I do it like a mixed match. I have set certain stocks which is always for the long term, like 5 to 10 years. I don't touch those things, even though it falls for the next 2 weeks. I don't care. I leave it like that. But few of the stocks which I used to always monitor every day, I have different accounts based on my investment strategy.
You're definitely very advanced. I only have one account, and I'm already worried about that. What about you, Alex?
I think Balaji said a very good thing there, which is ensure you understand what is the risk that you want to take, and sort of feel in your stomach how much and say, how much can I take on and how much am I willing to lose? So I think when I started investing, I really started small. So I put in, say, 5,000 euros and said, okay, I'm willing to lose this money. And to be honest, when I started, it didn't go very well. The first year, I think I came out with 5,000. So I lost in the beginning of the year, and then I gained a little bit of back. So I think if I look at sort of my strategies or what I'm looking at, I'm similar as what Balaji said. I'm always thinking long term. So I'm saying, so what if the market falls tomorrow? It's going to be okay because I believe in this company long term. To give you an example, actually, I bought Alibaba. I don't remember exactly, but I bought it, and then a few days later, it fell, and I think it fell by 50% or 40% or something like that. And then I was like, okay, this was a pretty bad investment, obviously upfront. But then I had done my due diligence. I'd read about the company. I felt like I understand this business to a certain degree, and I believe that in the long term, this is going to be a good investment.
What are some investment strategy that people can think of? Like, what are the common ones out there?
So I think this is where we come into the conversation about value stocks, growth stocks, dividends, stocks. Yeah. I think you hear a lot of these terms. If you turn on the news and hear, say, turn on Bloomberg or CNBC or something, and you hear these terms being thrown around all the time. I think it's become a little mushy. I think you often hear the term growth stocks are typically, and they're often referring to all these tech stocks that usually they don't necessarily generate that much money, but they're growing really fast. So they have every year they're growing, 100% or more, and they're just sort of explosive growth. And there's usually, when you buy into these growth stocks, I would say myself, so I've been investing a fair bit in growth stocks. Then you're putting your money after, so with an expectation that in the future, this company is going to do really well. But the game is about, like, if you were in, say Facebook, right? The whole game for Facebook in the beginning, before you could buy their stock, but the game for them was always to get market share and be dominant before they started focusing on money. And that's often the case for a lot of these sort of tech stocks and fast growing stocks. The alternatives are the value stocks. I think these are the ones, if you listen to Warren Buffett, one of the world's richest men and probably the most famous investors out there, that's the one he would typically invest in. Those are the ones that have very solid businesses, insurance companies, Coca-Cola, all of these that are very steady cash flows. They're very solid, good, healthy businesses. They generate good returns, and they typically also pay out a good dividends. But then obviously they don't necessarily grow as much. So you get, the return comes in a different way, but they might be considered less risky. Typically say, not all stocks pay dividends, but typically now it's a value stock. So if you buy into I think a Volkswagen, even a Microsoft, which I think Microsoft is sort of halfway a growth stock, but they're also big companies, so they will still pay you dividends as well. So I think it's up to the individual company, but essentially they're saying we're making so much money and we will pay some of it back to our investors, right? And that's the dividends. I think if you're just starting investing, I don't think really aiming to receive a lot of dividends is very profitable for you, because you will often find that you receive maybe 10 euros or something when they pay out dividends, and then you need to pay taxes on that. So then you don't have much left. So it doesn't quite make you rich.
How about you, Balaji? Are you investing more on the value stock or growth stock or something?
I invest more in the growth stocks because I do more intraday trading, because looking on the hypes on the news which comes up in the market, I used to invest in NIO or else Tesla. Those are always super hype stocks actually. And it's also automatically can also become super loser sometimes. Those are the thing. Additional to this, I invest in some dividend giving stocks. I'm not sure if everyone is aware about the dividends. If the company performs very good or something at the end of the year, they used to give the profits to all the investors who are having the stocks. So there are a few companies which gives always good dividends without even selling your stock in the market. So that is also good. Let's say that, let's take a simple example. There's a Royal Dutch Shell. which gives on an average around 5 to 7% per returns per year, just through dividends. I don't need to sell anything. I used to get my income every 3 months regularly. That is also another strategy what people can look for without taking a higher risk. Those are just only the value stocks. Sometimes it performs less than the market capitalization and other stuff, but still they give good returns in the long-term goal.
We also have a few questions here. It's about platforms. So what are the platforms that you would recommend people to select from? So for example, so basically, how do they find out the different brokerage account or the depot?
I personally have started my trading account with help of this Comdirect in the very, very beginning. Because in the past, there was not many other new brokers, something like a new brokers like Trade Republic and Scalable Capital. And FlatEx is also the upcoming trend, but it is something like a direct, almost similar. Let me show you a small difference between these brokers for you to understand it more better. In the Trade Republic and also Smart Broker and FlatEx and Smart Broker, both are completely free of cost. You don't need to pay any kind of single penny for just holding a depot account. And this is also similar with the Scalable Capital, but they have 3 different schemes. Let's say that they have a free broker, the prime broker, and the flex broker. So the fees are totally varies depending upon the concept what you would like to invest. In Comdirect, currently they have an offer for the next 3 years. If you're opening an account very newly with Comdirect, you just pay just €0, but only for the first 3 years. After 3 years, if you would like to have the same offer like it is €0, you need to do minimum 2 tradings, or you need to have a Giro Conto, like a normal account, like salary account, or else you need to have set up any kind of savings plan. Only then you can have this account at completely free of cost. In FlatEx, they have something, a crazy thing. You need to pay 0.1% on the total amount, whatever you hold with the FlatEx. Okay, the next interesting question is, where do these stocks buy and be sold? Which kind of exchanges are available here? There are a few something called regional exchanges, something like a Munich, Berlin. There are 7 regional exchanges for you. Munich, Berlin, Düsseldorf, Hamburg, Hanover, Stuttgart, and Frankfurt. These are the very old style thing. And the latest stage, they started with the electronic exchanges, which is something called Cetra. And there are also additional electronic exchanges, which is TradeX, KTX, Quotex, and Langenschwarz. And the advantages of these electronic exchanges is the Cetra trading time is only from morning 9 o'clock till evening 5:30. And the other electronic exchanges have some extended time. Let's say that the Langenschwarz trades till the night 11 o'clock. You can still buy stocks till night 11 o'clock, starting from morning 8 o'clock. So that's a few differences. You can check it out, which brokers offers and which exchanges can be purchased.
The last one, a lot of people have been asking, is about tax. So if they're investing in the German tax market, what are some tax consideration or tax knowledge they should know before they start to trade stocks here?
Okay, as everyone know, Germans are known for collecting taxes from the people here, the high taxpayers sometimes to say. That is a good thing, and also there's a bad thing over there. If you are single, any profit up to €801 is completely tax-free. This is all only for the private investors. If you are married, profits up to €1,602, €1,602 is completely tax-free here. So depending upon your strategy, you can decide whether you'll be making €10,000 profit in particular year, or you'll just make €500 to €1,000. You can utilize this. In order to utilize this, there are a few options. When you're trading in the German market here, you can tell them, you can set up something called Freistellungsauftrag. I don't know the exact English word for it. You can say that up to this particular amount, please do not deduct any kind of taxes. If you don't tell this particular amount to your bank where you have your trading account, they will automatically deduct 26.375%, which is 25%, which is 25% on the realized profit, plus 5.5% of Solidarität-Zuschlag, plus if you're a Christian and you're paying a church tax, then you need to pay an additional church tax on it.